Okay, this is the one single answer to how you can change the world, do anything and everything you want, convince minds to favor you, and is the absolute bedrock to prove your credibility. Let's really decode the fear that I know that hides deep in some corner of your mind, and for myself too. How can me and you develop and master the skill to build something? It's the absolute cheat code to making whatever you want, something from nothing. But since it's so powerful, a lot of us are scared because it can be simple yet hard work. But it being hard is a good thing because then the barrier to entry will be higher. You will be one in a small group of people who can actually perform this thing and add into your toolkit to making something. Let's say you want to learn how to earn money fast with a business like those spammy, overwhelming 10K per month videos all across the internet, and presumably you want to scale it to more. Now, doing that is absolutely a set of skills you need to implement, no doubt about that. Almost any and every one of those videos promising you to make a fat fortune involves building a business, setting up a client funnel, a landing page for conversion, or a sales call or page of some sort, then product, offer, and then its fulfillment. All of these are skills in themselves, but together it's a skill set that you must rinse, refine, and repeat to get that cash flow. 99% of the videos you see will tell you this, but you still keep clicking on the next and then the next to see if anyone says some other easier way of reaching this goal because it's uncomfortable for our brains. But we'll get into that in a sec. Attract, funnel, sale, product, fulfillment, basic components. Everyone can repeat these, and through enough repetitions, you will eventually make it there, right? It sounds so simple and easy, sometimes even like common sense, that you need to keep trying something and eventually you'll get better. But that's the least specific approach. You will start your first iteration, the first thing. What do I build my business around? Shouldn't it be so that I can sustain it? Should I start all five components at once or one after the other? Should I start by just making content about what my business is about or also start promoting my product? Who will take care of my fulfillment? How do I manage time building the product? Suddenly everything feels overwhelming and I don't know what to focus on. How do you deal with so many approaches? What was a five-step component skill set has suddenly turned into a giant ball of confusing steps to take, which you can't tell what to prioritize doing first. Building gets extremely painful this way. Having a coach or a mentor, however, saves you so much time and repetition. Of course, failed efforts are necessary to learn by making them with your own hands, but when you're on your own to learn anything, you won't even know what you're really doing wrong in developing the skill set. And that is one of the biggest bottlenecks to getting any skill, not knowing when your technique is wrong. And then you keep spending time repeating that wrong technique, and then when you realize it, it's too late now, and you have to start all over again with the one thing you think you would have fixed. But before you even know, now you're making some other mistake about some other component, and then you need to start again by fixing the other thing this time. This is so hard and wasted time, effort, and your mental capacity. It feels like it's so hard to learn. Why can't I do it? These gurus make millions in an outrageously short time. Did they spend all their years failing like this on one particular thing and then doing it all over again? No, all of them haven't. They and also you and I have to be analytical. We need to stop at every point to develop something a little bit more and brutally judge our progress in whatever skill it is that we're developing. Hyper-specific analysis about what we did, try during this period. How did that attempt go? Where is it leading you in terms of your goals? What mistakes do you think you have made and what genuinely confuses you? These are all important questions to know. Where in the journey do you stand at learning the skill properly and mastering it? And sometimes we aren't disciplined or can't even make the advice on the internet to our brains because all advice sounds generic and very few and particular offer genuine solutions instead of just what works for them. It doesn't mean it'll work for you because you might have thought of a very different thing than them. So it's really up to you to figure out what it is unless someone holds your hand and walks you through the more specific paths. Or maybe that does work for you up to some extent. Maybe you can get the ball rolling and notice subtle improvements, but then you hit a plateau. Don't understand why you can't improve anymore. What does it take to make a breakthrough? The problem happens when you think developing a skill is a linear time versus effort graph. As you put in more effort with time, you'll magically keep on progressing. That's where you fall short because every skill is different. Some are easier and some are harder inherently. And also because they're easier and harder to you due to your existing abilities. Of course, there's also general things to look at, but If you think simplicity of one graph will lead you to be extremely good at something, that works only for a handful of people. The rest of us have to find out how to properly develop the ability to develop a behavior. And that's really uncomfortable. To have to pause while implementing something, take a step back and check what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what will turn you back into the most effective path, and if you're even doing it right. And having to ask these questions again and again until you keep changing your behavior bit by bit into a habit, that's what can really improve us. Your mind hates changing focus from things once you're truly engaged in it. And now you're having to change that deep focus from one thing to another constantly, and you really don't want to do that. But when you develop that muscle of reinforcement and can catch discomfort and think of it as gold, that's where you really grip on improvement. You have to see entire components of the skill as one thing and then mix, match, and execute those in the form of experiment to see how you can build on top of your existing abilities. Making new attempts out of the things you already know and finding out what works with something that has never been done before is the absolute forefront of how every innovator comes up with new stuff. The absolute prerequisites for that are consistency and dedication in your work and already developed set of skills that you've developed. That point of time will feel crazy when you get obsessed with the skill and you can use X, Y, and Z and put together or apply them into something nobody else has ever done. And then you get to analyze that and figure out patterns that nobody else has done before either. I hope that feels exciting to you. There's so many mindset shifts that you can make to make this feel easier in your head, I believe, but that's value for another day.